Hello 4-H families, my name is Tatum Norwood and I'm one of the junior sheep superintendents for Cali County. Today we're going to be covering the basics for sheep feeding and lamb nutrition. One of the first decisions you have to make every spring is the type of feed you're going to be feeding. It is important that you find a fresh, consistent, and available feed to feed your animals. Finding a feed store that sells this type of feed is one of the most underrated parts of the project. I would hate to have to add up the miles that my dad has spent driving to get sheep feed. We are currently feeding Umbarger 17% sheep feed that we purchased from Hobbs Show Lambs up in Newton, Kansas. We have been really happy with the consistency that we have gotten from the sheep feed throughout the years. Once you have gotten your lambs home and have selected the type of feed you're going to use, you need to know how much you need to feed them. We typically feed between 3 and 4% of our sheep's body weight every day. If your lamb is currently 75 pounds, you'd feed anywhere from 2.25 to 3 pounds of feed every day. Depending on your target weight for the fair, that's when you need to adjust your feed to decide how much you want them to gain every week. During the spring, we adjust our feedings every 2 weeks, and when it gets closer to the fair in the summer, we adjust the ration every week. Another one of the key aspects for feeding your lambs is the time of day that you feed them at. We normally feed during the summer at 7:30 in the morning after we finish an exercise routine and at 8 p.m. at night. The consistency of the feeding is very important, and it is important that you keep it around 12 hours apart. Another very important aspect is the quality of hay. Sheep are ruminant animals much like cows, and it is required for the rumen to have hay, such as this prairie hay, to keep it functioning properly. High quality prairie hay is readily available in Cali County. Take advantage of this and feed it as often as you can. We feed it 2 times a day in 2 large handfuls at both times. This keeps their rumen functioning properly. We also feed a small handful of alfalfa once a day to supplement for their protein content. Clean water is one of my dad's biggest pet peeves in the show barn. He often asks us, "Would you like to drink out of that water bucket?" Clean water is very important for the animals because much like us, they don't want to drink the water if it's nasty. In the summer, we regularly dump our water buckets every evening and refill with fresh, clean water. We also regularly bleach our water buckets and our feeders to make sure that the algae is gone and they remain clean. A big question that many people who are new to the sheep project ask is supplements really necessary? And the answer to that question is, it's all personal preference. Supplements are not a magic pill that will get you to the top of your class. We have chased many fads over the years of supplements that are supposed to help increase muscle, but we found out that the best kind of supplement to feed is ones that increase the ruminant health as well as ones that prevent fungus. Right now, the best supplements that we find are from Sure Champ and For You to Win, and they are based on the ruminant health and on fungus prevention. 4-H projects are learning opportunities, and now we will share some stuff that we have learned over the years or have had people tell us. The first of these is to get a whiteboard. On this whiteboard, we write down our weights for each of our animals, as well as the amount we're feeding each one. We feed twice a day, so we write down the ration that they get fed at each feeding. This keeps the feeding consistent between my dad, my brothers, or I, whoever's feeding, because it sometimes gets hard to remember what you have to feed each animal if you're feeding 5+. Another good idea is to buy a kitchen scale. This can be a cheap one off of Amazon or any other place. We use it to keep our feedings consistent and make sure that we are feeding the same amount every day. We used to use a coffee ring system, and we would go by 1 ring, half a ring, 1/4 of a ring, and it could vary between each of us because we each had a different perception of what half a ring is. Another good tip is to use a recording system. We use Evernote. It's important that we weigh our animals every 2 weeks and write down our weights in Evernote, and this allows us to help adjust our feed as we go. We also write down ear tag numbers and the date of birth, so we can keep track of these every year. Another good thing to do is find an advisor or a breeder that you trust and can ask your questions to. These projects are often very challenging, and it is important that you have someone that you can ask these questions to. We often use our trips to select animals in the spring to discuss trends as well as feeding programs. I will close with this: never stop learning. It is a critical part of this project. Sometimes it takes many failures in order to be successful. I suggest that after every show season, you take time and discuss with your family what you could have done better, and what to improve for the next show season. We hope that you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.